Ben Thompson had always dreamed of owning his own bakery. After years of working as a chef in other people's kitchens, he took the plunge and opened Ben's Sweet Treats in his small hometown. With excitement, he envisioned it as a cozy spot where locals could grab fresh pastries and coffee, but reality quickly hit him hard. The first few months were rough. The foot traffic was slower than expected, and his initial marketing efforts didn't bring in the customers he hoped for. Sales were dismal. Despite his talent for baking, Ben couldn't understand why people weren't flocking to his shop. He found himself saying, "Maybe this isn't meant to be. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." One particularly disheartening evening, after yet another day of low sales, Ben sat at the counter, staring at the empty shop. His heart sank. Maybe it was time to face facts. Maybe the dream he'd worked so hard for was never going to work. But then he thought about all the long hours he'd spent perfecting his recipes, all the sacrifices he'd made to open this business. He thought about his grandmother's old baking book, which had inspired him to become a chef in the first place. He couldn't give up now, but something had to change. Ben began to analyze his situation. His pastries were good. People who did try them loved them, but he realized he hadn't focused enough on the experience of visiting his shop. He had made the classic mistake of assuming that people would just come because the food was good. He needed to reach his community, build relationships, and create an environment that was more than just a place to buy bread. So he decided to make some bold changes. First, he revamped the shop's look, adding some cozy seating, fresh plants, and local art. He started hosting weekend baking workshops, inviting people to come in and learn how to make pastries from scratch. The workshops weren't a huge moneymaker, but they helped create a loyal customer base. Ben took every opportunity to chat with his customers, ask for feedback, and get involved in local events. Ben also partnered with local farmers for fresh, seasonal ingredients. He began offering gluten-free and vegan options, and soon he became known as the place that was inclusive of all dietary needs. Word spread quickly. Over time, the steady stream of customers grew into a flood. They didn't just come for the pastries. They came for the experience, for the warmth, for the sense of belonging. Ben's Sweet Treats became a community hub. One afternoon, almost a year to the day after Ben had considered closing up shop, a local newspaper writer visited and wrote a glowing review. That article was the final push Ben's bakery needed. Business boomed, and the shop that had once seemed like a failure became one of the most popular spots in town. Ben never forgot the lessons he learned from those early struggles. He realized that failure was never the end. It was simply the moment he needed to look for a new path. The bakery's success didn't come from a perfect plan, but from his willingness to learn, adapt, and never make excuses. Ben leaned against the counter one morning, watching a line of customers happily chatting and enjoying their pastries. He smiled, knowing that success hadn't come easily, but it had come, and he was finally where he belonged. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.